All right, so we're up and we're recording. I'm Lewis Lee Jr. I hacked my father's account, All Ends Magazine. I hijacked it. I have the username and password, and I have a few guests here on the blab. So we'll just go around and introduce ourselves.
Go ahead, Lou.
Lou Santiago, host of Car Fix.
Joe Beckham, Grid Star.
Corey Lewis, Monster Energy athlete and Lamborghini Huracan driver.
Cool.
Well, Joe, is this your first time on Blab?
No, I've been on before. I haven't been on when you've been on, but I've been on before to chit-chat a little bit.
Nice. And what has your impression of Blab been?
Well, I enjoy it. Good talk, solid. What is the subject tonight? I didn't hear anything about a subject matter.
Yeah, we're trying something new. Well, not only do we have Corey on, and we'll talk a little bit about him and what he's got going on, but I went through Lou's social media accounts, and I took a couple snapshots of some of the fans, some of their questions, and I thought I would post them on my block, and you guys can have a conversation about it.
Sure.
Cool.
Something different.
Yeah, that's good. Less scripted. Go.
Yeah, so let's see if I can get this up here. The software that I'm using for it is always a little screwy. So we'll test it out and see how it works.
Yes, no, maybe so.
I don't know. I hope that I might have to put up my phone. We'll go that way.
What's one of the questions you got?
Yeah, okay. So right now I got a question. I got a couple actually. Okay, I got one right here from John Coyle on Facebook. He messaged you, or he commented, Lou, and said, without a doubt, and this question was, what is the biggest pain in the ass when it comes to chassis building? And his response was, without a doubt, it is rust repair and corrosion, stuck with hardware. And he wanted to know if you had any suggestions on rust and corrosion.
I cut it out. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll cut that shit out in a minute, man. I cut it out and build a new one.
Make your cars better.
Literally, that's what I do. I don't mess around with it. If I got a chunk the size of your fist, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna put it in a new piece of metal. And if it keeps spreading, I'll just cut the whole thing out. I don't care. That's just the way I do it.
So then, what is the next step after that?
When I do it, what I'll do is I'll cut out the affected area, and I'll try and clean out inside as best I can. Shoot some weld-through primer in there, and then I'll take my new piece, put weld-through primer on the backside, and weld it in. Because the weld-through primer doesn't burn. I don't know of any paint that would do that, so that's why I use weld-through primer. That's what I do. Corey, Joe, you guys got anything else?
I avoid it.
I stay away from that stuff.
Yeah, that's when the for sale sign goes on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
At
At least you're honest.
Oh yeah. 2-year leases are for a reason.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Say, hey, bring everyone up to speed with a little background on Corey being his first time here.
Oh yeah. So let's hear it, Corey. Let's get some background info.
So a little bit about myself. First off, thank you guys for having me on. This is actually really cool. It's the first time I'm really using this app and the software, so this is really neat. A little background on myself. 24 years old. I'm from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Good old East Coast boy. Been racing myself for the past 16 years. Started when I was 7 years old and started in go-karts. And it really just started as a hobby. And next thing you know, I remember looking at my parents And I was like, all right, I think I want to do this, for more than just a hobby. Little did they know, 16 years later, here we are. Been racing open wheel cars, sports cars as of lately. This past season, racing the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series and in the tire series in the Porsche Cayman, doing some double duty. Some highlights there for this last year in the Lamborghini series. We won 12 out of the 14 races. Not only were we the national North American champion, but we are also the World Finals champion, where we raced guys against Europe and Asia, all here in Sebring, Florida. And we beat them all. So it's been an awesome year, representing Gridstart Apparel also. So it's an awesome combination that we have here working with Joe. He's been a major help so far this season, and 2016 is shaping up to be even a better one. Planning on being in the GT3 Lamborghini Huracan.
Awesome!
For next year, so
endurance series with IMSA.
That's incredible. That's incredible to hear that you started doing anything with that type of focus at the age of 7. That's incredible. So what age did you go to your parents? Because I know you said you went to your parents and you told them that you were taking this serious. What age was that about?
Yeah, that was honestly right around 8 years old. I think it was.
So 1 year into it
when it started.
At the end of his rookie season.
Yeah.
I did go-karts for maybe, I don't know, 6 years or something. It was quite a long time before we bumped up, but right off the bat, I always had a passion for it. I grew up with the Andretti family right in our backyard, and that's kind of how everything kind of evolved. My brother went to school with Marco in grade school, and my dad was a big football, baseball, basketball coach, my brother and I growing up. And we kind of had a little bit of an even trade where my dad would coach Marco in the winter basketball, and Michael Andretti coached me in go-karts right off the bat. So kind of right off the bat, we kind of knew that this could be a little bit more than just a hobby.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Not everybody gets an Andretti for a coach.
No, exactly. Oh, forever grateful for that one.
I met Mario when I was doing a muscle car.
Okay, very cool.
Guy, man, super nice guy. Yeah,
he's one of the only guys that I know that will sit there all day and all night talking about his old, F1 stories, his IndyCar stories. You give him a cigar and some whiskey, game over.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, he was. I mean, I didn't get I only talked to him for like 15 minutes because he was busy doing a power block, but he was a really nice guy. Yeah. He was looking at the Challenger that we were doing on the show. We had a 70 Challenger with a 528 Hemi and a 5-speed 5 inches off the ground. And he was just looking at it. He was really checking it out. So it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For any of you guys interested, and you may want to put it up on the link, Corey's rebroadcasting the championship from Sebring tomorrow night, correct?
Correct. Yep. Tomorrow night at 7 on CBS Sports.
Yep.
Tomorrow night at 7?
CBS Sports Network at 7 tomorrow night. So if you want to watch him throw the monster Lamborghini around and put it on the podium, you can.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm going to check that out.
And I just Facebook back message you, Lou, some links to Corey with some imagery of what the car looks like. If you have a way to bring that up or capture it on your Facebook, it's on your back message.
It's on the let's see.
So it isn't just a Lambo. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. I wonder if it's that. I don't know where it is. I'll have to figure it out. Because I don't have you said you posted it on the Facebook?
It's on your I back messaged you on Facebook.
Okay, then I'll check it. I'll do that.
So he's gearing up now for the Roar, Daytona, and then the 24-hour race he'll be running. So it'll be kind of neat. Lamborghini is the first time they've come into the series as a actual manufacturer.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they've never had the presence. So there's going to be a lot of attention on that. The new WeatherTech sponsorship is in play now, so they're coming away from Tudor and going to WeatherTech. So there's going to be a lot more attention on that. So there's going to be a lot of buzz. I don't know if you guys have ever been to the 24, but it's
one of the ones I want to do. I'd like to just
if you get a chance, book it, because it's probably one of the most exciting races, going from daylight to night to daylight nonstop. Right. And when you're in the situation where you're around these crews and you see them sleeping in shifts and always on call, because you never know when something has to be worked on the cars. I mean, I've seen cars come in with full tranny changes and they get right back out and keep going. I mean, it's wild. It's watching an endurance race. It's one of the best to go to. So
yes, I've always wanted to check one of those endurance races out. It's one of the I've never been to one of them.
The Glen is really nice. Sebring is nice. I mean, there isn't a bad one, but I think the 24 to start the season with that one is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're going up against all the big manufacturers. You got BMW, Porsche, Aston Martin, who else? Corvette, Viper. I mean, there's a bunch of us that are out there competing for the big win. So it's really cool. The fans out there last year as a fan, and now the whole infield is just covered with fans and people hanging out in the stands and whatnot. It's like literally a 24-hour party, but at the same time, you got race cars buzzing by it at nearly 185 miles an hour.
That's cool.
Wow.
But now how did it now? I know it with I don't know what class it is, like the GT prototypes and all that. You know how they have 3 and 4 different classes running at the same time?
Yep.
How does that work, Corey? I mean, because I've never had that explained to me. I mean, I just know like you'll see faster cars and slower cars, and you know what I mean? And
that's exactly what it is that we're going to be in. You know, I believe there's 4 different classes that I'll be racing with, including our class. So basically, there's a GTD, which is the class that I'll be in. There's a GTLM, Le Mans, and then there's a P1 class, and then a Daytona prototype. These are just all different types of cars that we race within each other, and then for the overall win, obviously. But the biggest thing that distinguishes, obviously, the speed variance is the body types, the size of the cars, so on and so forth. Technically, you're racing everybody in your class. So everybody else that's around you, you're not worried about. You're just kind of you're kind of dodging the bullet the whole time, because they come up behind you that might be faster. So it's always we always have spotters up in the stands, you know, letting us know, hey, there's a prototype coming behind you, you know, so on and so forth. So it's definitely a lot more involved than a lot of people may think, but it's also very cool because the sports car world, it's very relevant to the real world, where people see, oh, that's a BMW out there, that's a Lamborghini. You know,
they look like a BMW.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
All the lifestyle brands are present. So, you know, you have your Corvette corral and your Aston Martin corral and your Lambo corral. So you have all the fan base watching a car that, for all intents and purposes, looks very similar to what they're driving on the street.
Right.
So they can really get behind that. It's not so. The prototypes, obviously, they're a whole nother level, and it's that's one of the wildest things to watch at this race is when the high bank final turn at Daytona, the cars, like Corey will be in his car wide open on the bottom of the corner going through it, and the prototypes, which are basically unrestricted high-end crazy cars, will walk him above him all the way around the corner, and they're both wide open, and it's so wild that they're all competing on the same course at the same time. It's nuts.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you essentially have 4 different races going on at the same time.
Yep. You have your overalls, and then you have your in classes, so it's all going nonstop. And the cool thing about it, they have lit up numbers on the car, so as they go by, you can distinguish where they are at all times and what position they're running. So you don't really have to pay total attention, but you can tune it at any point and know exactly who the leader in each class is as they go by. But it's wild to go into the night and all the lights and the Ferris wheel going in the background and just camp. The whole center field is a camp area, and it's just nonstop energy. It's amazing.
That's cool.
It's damn cool.
Yeah, I'll send you some videos that we did from last year's because my company does team and crew wear for Turner BMW.
Right.
We do the Visit Florida Daytona prototype team that does a Corvette prototype. And we have a couple other teams right now. We're finishing up Team Wear 4 that should be part of this whole mix. So we'll have a lot there. We're doing the WeatherTech promo wear. We're doing promo wear for about 5 other teams in the series. So we have a lot of reason to hang out and be there and kind of service the accounts and then just be a part of the whole party.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a fun time. You definitely need to put that on the bucket list. One of the endurance races. Even the Glen. How do you like the Glen as far as racing?
I've never been to Glen.
Oh, that's a pretty place too. Corey?
I've been to Lime Rock, which was really nice, but I've never been to Glen.
Yeah, Lime Rock's great. It's the only problem with Lime Rock. It's so small. That's the only thing. You see, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a very historic track in its own right. But definitely check out Watkins Glen. I think that's definitely one of the more historic ones that we've had on the schedule outside of Daytona and whatnot. From everyone knows Daytona from the NASCAR scene, but from Watkins Glen standpoint, the old Formula One cars used to run there also. I think greats, and just the history around that place. And that track, honestly, is one of my favorites just because it has a little bit of everything. The elevation changes, the blind, fast, high-speed corners, the heavy braking. It is such a great racetrack in general, just a race at. It's definitely one you want to have on the bucket list.
That is cool. That's very cool. I'm going to check that out. I actually went to the first Long Beach Grand Prix.
Oh yeah. It was still Canon was the big sponsor back then.
Yeah. My uncle lived like 2 blocks from where the racetrack was laid out. So it was the first one, so it was still pretty loose.
Yeah.
And we just happened to be visiting him in Long Beach. It was me, my brother, and my cousin, and we just walked over there, and we just walked around like we owned the place. No one ever questioned us. No one ever stopped us because it was all so new. There's no security, like almost no security. So we're just walking around, ripping the track, watching the race.
Have you been there in the last couple of years?
No.
Oh, it's ridiculous, dude. It's a circus.
I can imagine. But I mean, it was, quite honestly, I appreciate road racing, but the only track I've ever been to is Lime Rock. I've just never had the opportunity to go. And the only reason why I got to go to Lime Rock was down the street from us, there was a family, Mr. Allen, and he was a Volvo guy. And he used to go all the time. He worked for Volvo, and he would get tickets. So they went, they made the yearly pilgrimage to Connecticut, and they did it. And one year I just got to go. I was always in a drag race.
Yeah.
And actually I stopped going to drag racing. Now the only time I go is if I got to tune a chassis that I built. I just don't go anymore.
You're in Charlotte?
Yeah.
So Z-Max right there, the 4 wide?
20 minutes from my house.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I mean, we're so close to the track that when they do the flyover, they literally fly over my house. They drop down. You can read the wing numbers, and they go they fly over the track.
Nice.
P1s rattle the windows on the house.
You do your shoot there too for their show? Is the show shot there?
Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go to Tampa for that. So
they have to twist your arm to get down there?
Man, I didn't lose nothing in Florida. I'm serious. It's just like New York, man.
You need to come down to Tampa when they have the Indy race there in St. Pete.
I didn't know they had an Indy race there.
Oh my goodness, dude, it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
That's another good one.
That's another good one.
Write that down. Indy race.
They actually combine the Pirelli World Challenge races there and IndyCar races on the same track right there, like in the harbor.
Yeah.
It's an amazing course.
Man, I did not know that. I need to find out when that is. Because, I mean, I'm sure if I asked Jared, I could stay with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's April-ish is St. Pete.
I must
Yeah,
check that
March,
out.
April, something like that.
I'd like to go to the one in Detroit because I got a cousin who lives outside of
Belle
Detroit.
Isle is a neat. Well, last year was horrible. It rained the whole time, but the year before that was pretty good. But yeah, that's fun because a lot of the Indy ones, they also combine stadium super trucks. They combine Pirelli World Challenge. They've got combination events.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just stuck on the Indy if that's something you're not familiar with, because that's very specific chassis and motors, and there's a lot of one-offs. But if you're a lifestyle brand guy, they usually combine them with other series that bring the lifestyle brands that you're familiar with. And then it gives you an easier way to play. And then they bring stadium super trucks in, which is just wide open badass. I mean, fun. So
I just appreciate racing. You know what I mean? I do. I pretty much like all of it.
Well, then you need to come hang out then.
Yeah. and I tell you what, I really like those Australian supercars. Those crazy ass sedans that they run. I don't even know it. I just know they're Australian. I don't know what their classification is. Super V8. Them things are nasty.
Yep.
Because I heard they ran in Dallas this year.
Oh, I didn't know they came stateside at all.
That's what I heard. I don't know how true it was. But I heard they did one race in Dallas just to try it out. But them things are just nasty.
Have you watched Stadium Super Trucks?
Yeah, I've seen them on TV. I haven't seen them.
You got to go in person. They're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Torquey monsters.
Those things are there's a whole lot of suspension technology in them, man.
Oh yeah, and motor. I mean, they're balls to the wall.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Well, what other fun things you want to play in, Corey, besides Lambos, which seem to bore you?
They don't bore me at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you make it look so easy.
That's hard work. It may look easy on the outside.
Oh, so you make it look easy. I got it. Okay.
That's funny. I'm unfamiliar with the sport, and I've been learning so much just talking to Lou over the past couple of months about cars in general. But definitely, Corey, all the stuff that you've been talking about, all the detail, all the focus, I mean, it takes a lot of preparation, I can imagine. But on the other side, of people that aren't familiar with the sport like myself, it seems like there's people that criticize drivers and don't think of you guys like athletes. What is your response to that?
They're cab drivers.
Yeah. It's called Uber.
Exactly, Uber drivers.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to be honest, there's people that are going to say that. You know, it may look easy from the outside, but truth be told, I mean, on the inside, they don't understand how physical these cars are and how there's no power steering to these things. So every bump that you feel on the road, it goes straight through us from the driver's seat.
Right.
No idea. These cars that are going, 130 plus miles an hour, and within 2 inches of each other. On top of that, it gets insanely hot inside the cars. I know for the Lamborghini stuff and also the Porsche stuff that we ran, the inside the cars, it gets almost to 130, 140 degrees inside the car.
Wow.
And
they run cool shirts with cooling systems through their shirts just to keep going. There's a lot going on. And when you're talking the endurance series, like what he's running, these guys do, an hour, 2 hours wide open where every second is brain time. There's no time to rest, and it's wide open to everything. And then they shift out, and there really isn't a downtime because they're, gearing up for getting back in. So it's wide open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Corey, how many shifts will you run at Sebring?
I'm sorry?
How many shifts will you run at Sebring?
Well, Sebring's the 12 hours, so I mean, it all depends on how many drivers are running with you. It's not just me. So, say if there's a 3-driver lineup, you could run anywhere between, 3.5, 4 hours, not at a time, but
right. But that'll be broken up over say 3 different times, 4 different times. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and on top of that, you got to stay hydrated. You don't know, what your body's trying to tell you. You're gonna wear yourself out. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that a lot of the general fans don't truly understand.
Yeah.
And that's only, 20% of it.
I got to take this.
So
That's all right.
So for you, what is your preparation like? What is your training, and what do you go through before a race?
Honestly, the biggest thing for me, especially during the summer, is training with the heat, getting used to being out in the sun. So for me, I do a lot of running. I'll run in the middle of the day with the heat temp, just to get used to being hot. And obviously, the proteins and weight training cycles and whatnot. The biggest thing is just mentally preparing yourself. I think it's mind over matter before anything else. So, mental preparation before a race is probably one of the biggest things, in my opinion, outside of actually the physical stuff.
Wow.
Because it comes down towards, the last, like this past season, I can count numerous times where there's maybe 15, 20 minutes to go left in the race. And it's, like I said, extremely hot. And inside your mind, it's like, you just want to stop,
He's going to do shows. He's called me up.
You can't. So you got to dig deep mentally and just keep pushing through, and then deal with rehydration and everything afterwards. So it's a lot involved.
We talked about it. Yeah.
And you got to also understand, like, different racing has a different mindset as to what's necessary for preparation. And I've noticed that because I play in like all different sports, and they're all drivers. Yeah, they all get behind the wheel. They all steer. They all do whatever. But from off-road to endurance to IndyCar to NASCAR to UTV racing to desert racing, they all have a different potential mindset. Some of these guys are just, out there crazy all the time. They show up and they drive. But there's like tiers of athletes, and it's no different than any sport, pickup basketball or whatever. Certain athletes take it serious to the extent that when they're not in a car, they're getting ready to get back in the car the moment they get out of the car. And it starts mental, it starts dietary, it starts exercising. A lot of the guys that Corey hangs out with at race in a lot of the other premier series in the U.S., they're cyclists. They do triathlons. They do, and you would never know that because all you see them do is show up on race day. Yeah. But if you were to be a part of their in-between races, they're doing simulator driving. They're doing on-track testing. They're doing all this stuff that is all demanding in preparation for the day they have to use it for their 2-hour race, 6-hour race, 12, 24-hour, whatever it is. The mental preparation, the physical preparation, the food preparation, it all is a part of a routine. There really isn't any downtime. Like a lot of people would assume they just hang out all week and show up and drive. That isn't the case if they take it serious like anyone else.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
What up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
The brother out here grinding had to work. Sorry I'm late.
Okay.
And
no excuses.
And you brought your microphone with you to work. That's interesting.
I don't play, man. Look.
you carry that everywhere with you?
You never know when you got a blab. You got to kick it off.
Yeah, right.
Got to be official.
So everything sounded pretty good.
Corey again, Lewis.
Yeah, me and Corey hung out a little bit at SEMA.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yep. So how you liking blab?
It's very cool. So honestly, the first time I've ever used it. So when I was logging in, I didn't know what to expect, but this is really cool. It's definitely something that I have to use in the future.
Yeah, you can put a camera in your car and stream it live while you're acting up.
Hey, Joe, we might have to do this.
Yeah.
We have the means, my friend. We have the means.
Yeah, me and Joe got some stuff in the works. We're going to do some video and some good stuff.
Yeah, we've got a lot coming up. But you have any plans on making it to the Daytona race? You had mentioned something.
I'm going to try. I'm looking at some dates. See if we can get down there. I would love to come down. Yep.
Well, even if not that race, any of the races up north, the Glen we were talking about earlier before you got on,
mm-hmm.
That's a nice course. Another endurance race, we can put something together. Anything Detroit-wise or Mid-Ohio or whatever, we can figure out whatever we need to do.
Right. We'd love to come shoot it. We'll bring all the cameras, and we'll try to get a couple celebs to pop in and out. We'll do our thing.
Very cool.
Well, Joe, I like what you said about the different tiers of athletes, because in across all sports, there's a different breed of people that have the talent, and then they have that extra oomph of the work ethic. And I think that's kind of where you were going when you were talking about those tiers.
Well, exactly. And that's the thing. There's ways that, luck separates some people, but preparing for luck is what separates those certain ones, the little 2%ers, the ones that really make a mark. I've had a pleasure dealing with Corey because he came into the picture super, super humble, and he just proves himself when he gets in the car, and you would never know when he gets out of it. He doesn't carry any airs about him. Really approachable, really fan friendly, really kid friendly, just really grounded and well stable as a person. And it's just fun to see that. Motorsports is a family away from your family. So when you find people like this and teams and the groups all tend to be that quality ilk, and then you find someone shining like he is and doing the things off the track to grow the fan base, the popularity, and the ability to get even better next year when everyone else would say, this is it, I'm done, that's the best it's going to get. It's just a step to a process that's even bigger, and who knows where it goes, It's going to be fun watching the ride.
I can testify to that because when you introduced me to him at the trailer, I thought he's young looking. I was like, oh, he's racing go-karts.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that he was a Lambo guy until I got back home and seen him on Facebook.
Yeah.
So you're right, man. He's a down to earth guy, man. And good man.
It's a real, you'll see a lot of things. We're putting down a lot of groundwork right now that he makes it really easy to do. And you'll see a lot of real high quality brands and profiles around him soon that'll all start making sense. And you guys will be tuning into it, so you'll see it from the ground up.
Sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, for sure, to perform at a level where companies like Monster approach you and say, we want to attach our brand to you. I mean, you definitely have to be doing something serious, and you have to be producing. So how do you stay humble, Corey? What's the reason?
I mean, to be completely straight with you, I mean, everything that I've done throughout my career, it's always because I had to earn it. My family and I, we didn't come from a lot of money. My family got me everything I possibly could with what they had. And when I turned 15, they said, okay, Corey, I mean, we've got you as far as we could. If you want to keep pursuing this racing career, this dream that you have, you got to go out and get it yourself. Like you got to, find the sponsors. You got to hustle and get it for yourself. So I took the initiative right off the bat. As soon as that, that option came to me, and I said, well, this is what I want, and I'm not going to stop until I get there. And so for me, it's like always know where I came from, always know the roots, and everything that I do have in my career and have had, I've been so blessed and thankful for it. I'll always be grateful. So it's not one for me to go and be extremely cocky or anything like that, because I don't want that image. I want people to know the true story behind how I got to where I am and how hard I've worked just to maintain it. And it's been a huge help working with Joe these past couple of months, and blessed to have him on my side because he and I work extremely well because we're both nearly the same person. We're both extremely humble, but very, very passionate about what we do. And we just we align very well together. So it's just, it's cool to pick up the people along the way and realize how many people actually look up and have been following the career. So it's always in my mind back to just being humble and realizing if I could help anybody on the way up, on their way up, or any advice, that's what I'm here for.
Nice.
Hey, Lewis, we had a fun story. I asked Corey to come out to SEMA and kind of like a challenge, a test, and a proving ground for me at the same time. And he jumped on a plane and came out. As soon as he got out there, I'm like, okay, I've got a hit list on my agenda for the week. You down? He's all, let's do it. So we start walking around, and I told him, look, I want to get you taking some pictures with some of the other Monster athletes. So we start walking around SEMA, running into all kinds of Monster athletes, all of which I know. And Corey's like, you knew him too. And you knew him too. And they're taking pictures, and all these guys are like, dude, we've been following what you're doing. That's sick with the Lambo. And Corey had to realize, as humble as he wants to be, he's making impressions every time he does anything. And people are following him even though he doesn't know it. And that's kind of, proof in the pudding for why he's in the right place at the right time doing the right stuff. And so he always realizes that, there's a lot of eyes on him, and it's a good thing. And they were all very hyped about everything he was doing from all the other monster athletes around him. And I wanted them to see his face because they better get used to it,
Yep.
So it was cool.
No, that was awesome. Definitely one of those trips I'll never forget. That's for sure. So you see all these guys that you've been watching on, the X Games or any other high, power sports things, and next thing I know, Joe's introducing me to him, and he's like, "I'll take a picture with him." It is very surreal in my opinion.
Even Formula One guys.
No, that's true. Forgot about that.
It was a wild time. It was wild, but that's going to be what it's going to be all the time. It was fun.
Yeah.
So, Corey, what would you suggest to – I'm going to ask you this question, then I'm going to hop off, let Lou jump back in. But what is a few suggestions that you would give to new drivers?
New drivers. Be very patient with yourself. Be open to any feedback anyone has. And realize it's not all glamorous. Behind closed doors, there's so much planning going on for the future to get yourself in the seat. So the biggest thing is patience, remain humble, and get ready to work hard because if you think about it, there's millions of other guys that are trying to do exactly what you do, and there's only a few amount of seats in the race series. So stay humble, keep working, and believe in yourself.
I'm just impressed that you don't just make left turns.
Yeah, right. I never got that. Left turn, left.
No, I don't do that.
Hey, I got a question. What led you to the Lamborghini? Like, what events led you to that, to be able to get into a Lambo?
It took me probably, realistically from go-karts to where I am now, it took me 14 years to get to this point before entering the Lamborghini series. And now for 2 years, I've been with Lamborghini in their one-make series, and now bumping up, next year. Honestly, I was racing for a Porsche team in the Continental Tire Series about a year and a half ago now, almost 2 years. And I knew the one team owner that just had bought a Lamborghini Gallardo. And he said, "Hey, Corey, I want you to drive my race car for me." And I looked at him, I laughed, and I was like, I don't got a budget for you. Like, I don't have that in my plans. He goes, "Oh, no, don't worry about it. I just want you to drive the car. We know you can do very well with it." Next thing you know, I'm in his Lamborghini Gallardo, and we're winning races right off the bat. And we finished second in the points for only doing 6 races out of the 12. So we did really, really well in the championship. And then the next year, we got picked up by Monster. And, the rest is kind of history. It's very eye-opening. It's very humbling. And it's just anything can happen, Keep your mind open.
Right.
Well, he says that very humbly, but last season with Monster coming on board and testing the waters, he won 10 of 12 races and both world championship races. So it wasn't like he backed his way into the championship.
No shit.
And I think the best one was that he raced locally at the Virginia International Raceway, and it was a 3-race weekend. So it was a big weekend, and 2 of the races, he qualified well, but something was just a degree off in camber on the tire or something. And he had to start the race at dead back of the pack on 2 of the 3 races, and he won all 3 races.
All right.
Damn.
All right.
So there's a little bit behind that. So again, humble.
He actually knows how to drive a car.
Exactly. It wasn't a lot of everyone else wrecked out in front of him. It was a lot of pushing past.
Yeah,
Right.
Dude,
that's on lefts and rights and
Sideways.
slow down and go fast. It's not just left turns.
And every once in a while, sideways.
That's really impressive.
Hey, can everybody tell a little bird that we're talking on here?
I already did that.
Okay. And if anybody in the chat room wants to ask Corey any questions, jump in and ask. If you want to know anything, Corey's the man tonight.
Yes, sir.
Feel free, ask away.
Yeah, I had to. Justin from Scott's Hot Rods. He called me. I had to talk to him real quick, so that's why I had to step away. So I'm gonna try and get him set up so we can get him on Blab too. He's a hoot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a hoot, man. He's a good guy. So when you
when you win,
I'm sorry, go ahead. When you win the AMBR, twice, you're doing something. You're building something over there. So
yeah, we're trying to do this every week, every Wednesday. So you tell people about us, and we're trying to build a community because there's no car communities on Blab. So we're trying to take over the world on this Blab thing, and throughout the year, we're gonna do live events like at races and SEMA and different things like that. So that's our plan. We're gonna really hit them on the head with it.
Now,
hey Lewis,
go ahead.
I was going to ask Lewis, did you find a way to run video on your screen while we're talking? Did you ever figure out how to post?
Yep.
All right. We had said earlier, tomorrow night they're doing a rebroadcast of the championship races from Sebring on CBS SN.
Yeah, CBS Sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a link on our page if you want to post it up for anyone listening or following, just so they can watch Corey run.
Okay, if you could type that in the chat over here, so we can copy and paste. But yeah, we can actually go on tomorrow night and put it on and put a window up.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice about this platform. We're opening up to a whole new world.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can put cameras in your car. I mean, we can stream live from the sidelines with phones and cameras. Whatever. We can do whatever.
Now, on the race, Corey, you said that I might have missed it. You said that Lamborghini. This is the second year Lamborghini's in the race. That they're into racing, or
so actually it's their third, but I came in a year later, the year after. So this is their third year as a one-make series, the Lamborghini Super Trofeo series. But for 2016. They're groundbreaking now into the biggest forms of GT racing, which I'll be a part of. So
that's cool.
It's a huge year for Lamborghini as a manufacturer because they've had this one make series and it's grown a fair amount just in the past year and a half, especially the new Huracan that just came out. So with them jumping up to the GT level and racing against all the big and massive manufacturers and race teams and big drivers, it's definitely one to watch, and I think it's gonna be the biggest year not only for sports car racing, but just in Lamborghini in general.
Nice.
They haven't really been into racing that much, have they? I mean, I know they have in the past, but not like some of the other manufacturers, have they?
No, like I said, they've only been in racing as a one make series, meaning we only raced against other Lamborghinis for the past 3 years. Now going, like I said, in the GT level, this is completely new to them. They raced overseas in Europe with this car and done extremely well. And that was their first time ever really breaking into the racing scene.
I thought they had done some stuff in like the 60s.
They used to make Lamborghini engines for the F1 cars, some power boats and stuff like that.
That's what it was.
Never in the sports car world.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
because I thought they had done stuff in the past and then they got out of it. That's what I wondered about. Okay,
originally Lamborghinis, they used to make tractors.
Right,
yeah.
I knew that.
A long way.
Yeah. Well,
these GT3 cars. These GT3 cars are specifically built for race purpose.
Right.
They're not repurposed street cars.
Right.
So it's a whole race division being set up within Lambo to support and create this. So it's pretty real deal.
Yeah, that's not pretty hell. That is real deal, man.
Yeah.
What's nice is you're on the ground floor. That's real nice.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and this past season, I was actually a development driver for Lamborghini, and they actually flew me out to Italy to test the new GT car that we're running next year. So I was one of the first. I'm the only American that got selected for this program, and I'm going up against all the Europeans. And just to be a part of that program itself was very eye-opening for me because, one, I've never been overseas before, and that's always been a dream of mine. But to also be involved with such a awesome manufacturer, be one of the first to drive this new car, was definitely awesome. And
dude, that's cool.
So it is. And then to represent the USA, it was an honor in a sense. And not to toot my horn, but we did really, really well over there too. So
yeah,
I'd say so.
Next year.
Yeah,
that's really cool, man. Damn.
And how old are you?
24.
24.
Yes,
taking over the world. That's sweet. That's sweet.
That's crazy.
We got a question over here for you, Corey. Have you ever thought about driving a straight line or NHRA drag racing?
I never really knew anybody in the series to even go to an event. I've never been to a drag race professional one in my life. So I'm definitely curious. I mean, anything with four wheels and a steering wheel, doesn't matter if we're going straight, left, right.
That's right, baby.
Backflip, whatever. I'm definitely interested. So you just never know. So I'm not going to say no, but if the opportunity comes up, then heck yeah, I'll try it.
Dude, you come to Charlotte, I got a guy. We can get in.
I got a guy.
We can make
Actually,
it happen.
my race team is based in
I know
Charlotte,
people that know people.
Exactly.
Yeah, my race team is based in Charlotte, so you might be in trouble because I'm.
Where at? Where you at? In Mooresville?
Just
or
right
Charlotte?
outside Charlotte. I'm trying to think of the street name. If that helps us, it's
Change
we're
Racing.
yeah.
Is it RAB? RAB and Change, right?
Yeah, RAB and Change Racing. RAB used to be a NASCAR team also. Now renamed itself to Change Racing for the Lamborghini side. They recently sold off all their NASCAR stuff, unfortunately, to focus full time on our Lamborghini program.
Wow.
But they're maybe 15 minutes from the track. So they're right there. It's in their
Yeah, they're
backyard.
close. Yeah.
And his Trofeo sponsor is Lamborghini Carolinas in Greensboro.
Yeah.
So the dealership there is the one that provides the backing on the cars and is tied to the Change Racing team. So
Got you.
that's the Greensboro Charlotte connection.
Because I'm right in Kannapolis.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm right off of 85.
All right.
Yeah, I'm close. Yeah, that's why I was asking. I mean, I was in Mooresville today.
Yeah.
I was over by all the race shops today.
Yep. I've been to Mooresville almost every time I've been down there. So
Yeah. Well, that's why I was wondering if you were in Mooresville or in Charlotte. You know, that's why I was wondering.
Now listen. Next time you're in Charlotte, you got to hook up with Lou because he likes to eat. He will get you in some restaurants. All right. He's like Uncle Lou. You know, when you go somewhere and your uncle always takes you out to eat and stuff.
Well, my buddy runs a comedy zone there, so you take us to eat, and then we'll go watch some comedy.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I'm
That's
sold.
fun.
I'm sold.
It's easy.
NC Music Factory is a blast, so we can go down there.
They have I don't know if I heard they were going to stop doing it. The Cars and Coffee in that big parking lot around the corner from them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do.
That's a pretty big Cars and Coffee there. I heard they're moving it because supposedly they're building an apartment complex in there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Check them out.
That's right outside. Was it Greensboro?
No,
It's in Charlotte.
they do have a Cars and Coffee in Greensboro.
Okay.
But at the NC Music Factory, the street, you go down and you pass the Comedy Zone, and the street literally makes a 90. Just to make it, there's a diner there, and then there's a huge parking lot, and they do a Cars and Coffee there.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go to that one. I went to the one in Greensboro. We actually brought the Lamborghini Trofeo car out there with everybody amongst all the other cars, so that was a lot of fun. I've never been to an actual Cars and Coffee before either, so the eyes of that is really neat.
The one there, they get about 1,000 cars, man.
Oh heck yeah! No, it was massive.
Yeah, I've never been in one in Greensboro. My first one was this summer. I took my youngest son and we went because I had never been. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Do any of you guys see if you got a question here? Do any of you guys see anything in the future for Detroit besides crime?
Running fast.
Belle Isle. Just keep your eye on Belle Isle. That's the only
Bella. I mean, the sad part about Detroit is when I was there a couple years ago, we did a bunch of episodes for Ultimate Car Build Off. I just don't see any kind of turnaround coming.
No.
You know what I mean? It just seems like it just keeps getting worse.
It's flat.
Yeah.
It's flat.
I mean, and the car manufacturers, I swear they want to get out of there. They just haven't figured out how to do it yet. You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is they own everything they're in. So to go anywhere else, they'd have to start over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they're getting all kinds of tax breaks to stay there so that they don't take the only business out of town.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
So they're stuck. They're going to be there, and it's going to just be miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Belle Isle is a blast to race at. I mean, they have the Indy program there. They have GRC comes there with the Global Rallycross.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a fun event. I mean, that was pretty good because it didn't rain. But I think there's a few more things being added this year to the site.
Yeah.
They might as well. There's nothing else going on.
Yeah.
You know,
There's nothing else going on.
Now I got a couple buddies up there that they hold those bull runs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep it up a little bit. There's a lot of car enthusiasts there, so it's it's still popping a little bit. I go up there like once a year and play around with those guys.
I'll tell you what, man. If you go up there and you got the chance, you need to go to that Ford Museum.
Yep, did it. That was the one thing I made sure to do. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was well worth it. It was well worth it. So
Agree.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your season starts in Sebring. When's that again? What month?
It starts in Daytona.
Starts at Daytona. I'm sorry. Starts at Daytona. What's the date on that?
We have testing early, right after the New Year's. So January, I think it's 6th to the 9th. We're testing at the Daytona Motor Speedway, doing the infield course and whatnot. And then later that month, end of January, the 29th through the 31st, or 28th through the 31st is the actual race weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the actual race starts, I believe, on the 31st, and we'll run 24 hours straight.
So you go from January to what's your last race?
Oh man,
he just buttoned up the championship.
Yeah, that's why I was
a couple weeks ago.
I was wondering how long. So you got a pretty long season.
Yeah, it's definitely busy, and with running in two different type of series,
right?
I run in the Porsche Cayman and the Continental Tire series, and also now in the WeatherTech series. It definitely keeps you busy. So the little bits of downtime that we do have, I soak up to the most, but yeah, it's a long year. But I wouldn't want it any other way.
No, I could see that. I get that. Yeah, because to me, driving is one of those things. The more you do it, you get better at it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? To me, that's the way I see it, because you're going to see different things that you do when you drive, hitting the turn in a different angle or braking a little bit differently, and you pick up speed, you lose speed, and you learn from that. So yeah, I could see that. I'd want to keep doing it.
Well, and there's a whole nother aspect of this with the series. If you were to make it out to these races, the telemetry that goes on in these cars is ridiculous. His off-track data and the ability to coincide track data with visual and kind of put together and play through it again from an observer standpoint, he can really fine-tune where the mistakes were, where he picked up time, where he lost time. And I mean, it's always a process. So even out of the car, he's learning in ways that other drivers in the past would have to learn strictly by the time on track. He spends, just like a football analyzing plays, he's sitting there with all this real in-depth, and he has the ability on the steering wheels now to do a lot of adjustments in car that are just ridiculous.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, on the steering wheel itself, it's kind of like if you ever seen like an F1 steering wheel. There's maybe 15 to 20 buttons on the wheel.
Right, I've seen it.
As we're going, the team's saying, "Okay, we need you to hit this fuel mixture. You need this traction control setting, this ABS setting," and it changes throughout the course of the stint. So not only are we driving, but we're also getting information from the crew chief from the pit lane, telling us, okay, what numbers that we need to hit. There's also the fuel mileage. and then there's a delta of the lap times. So there's a lot that's going on mathematically in your head.
Yeah.
As you're going throughout the race.
Holy
for everything. So, like I said, it's a lot more in depth than the general public may think.
Right.
Yeah, you'd never think that. That's amazing.
I would have never known that.
Yeah, they were saying something that in the Formula One, those guys, they're wide open to an extent that's unbelievable. But they were saying that the driver, irrelevant of everything going on in the crew side of things, the driver themselves make thousands of small adjustments on that steering wheel in the course of a race.
Dang.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I didn't know that they were adjusting the car from there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I knew it was getting information, but I didn't know that they can make adjustments.
Well, brake bias balance. You've got fuel mixtures. You've got all kinds of things that can all be adjusted. And
That's crazy.
Going off of feedback from what they're getting telemetry in the pits, and then relaying it to the driver so that they're on the same page for what's going on.
Right.
And then you have, especially in like an endurance race, when you have daytime temperatures, trackside, compounds on the tires, you're changing all these things all the time. So the teams that stay on top of it the best are the ones that put the few seconds every lap in the books. And that over a course of 24 hours is laps,
Right. Well, and not only that, I mean, when you think about it, when Corey gets out of the car, the next guy in the car he's going to drive the car differently.
Exactly. And that's what the testing, that's what the roar before when they get all these drivers out there and they have days of running the car and they run it at different times, just like they're going to at the 24. Each driver sets up his parameters of what he'd like during those moments. So that things can be adjusted according to that swap over.
Yeah. Or the biggest thing is you try to find as many drivers that are going to be on your pairing that have the most similar driving style. So the tweaking is very minimal. But that's always one of the biggest things that the team owners seem to struggle is to find somebody, a group of guys that have a very similar driving style. I know for me, when we just did some testing, we tested between 3 different teams sharing the same car. And I was the first one to go out, and I set up the car the way I liked it.
Right.
We did our laps. I did my 2-hour stint, and we got out. The other guys got in, and they said, I can't drive this car. It's undrivable. And everyone's like, well, Corey just did this lap time, and you're doing this lap time. Why is it not correlating? It's amazing how what I thought was comfortable, somebody else gets in and is like,
totally out of whack.
This thing is borderline reckless,
And that could be just a different size person. Like a guy 2 inches taller than you might throw him out of whack driving your car.
A fat guy like me getting in the car.
Yeah, right. But that's amazing that, just think back, 40 years ago when the guys were running moonshine. They had this technology. Woo!
There's the optimistic entrepreneur in you right there.
Yeah, we gotta figure out how to run some moon.
How to be more efficient running the booze.
Bring it back to the level we all understand. I got it.
Yeah. You never know. Hey, you might lose your job. You got to do something.
I got you, my brother. I got you. We're all good.
That's. I mean, I knew that. I know that. Everybody. Feels the car differently. But I never even thought of it being so different that you could have a guy get in the car and it's like, I can't do this. I never even thought of that. I figured like a couple tweaks. You know what I mean? I honestly thought that you would have guys that they all basically did the same thing because they're all accomplished drivers. You know what I mean?
Right. You would think, but everyone's preference is some of these drivers are so picky with what they want from the car. It just makes things 10 times more difficult for endurance racing. But like for me, growing up, I never really had, again, I didn't have the funding to do the practice sessions or anything like that. So most of my races that I did, I would do one morning warm up. I would qualify the car, and then I go straight into the race where these other guys have had 2 or 3 days of practice to get used to the cars. And for me, it's like, okay, it's got 4 wheels and a steering wheel, Corey. If this is what you want to do, you got to quick.
You got to make it happen. Yeah. I get that.
For me, it's like you got to be a quick study and literally drive the car with your butt and let it talk to you. And if it's doing this, you got to adjust. If it's loose and you can't fix it during a race, you can't come in the pits and say, "Oh, the car is too loose for me to drive it." They'll laugh at you and say, "Well, figure it out because we're not coming in."
Well, even that's another thing that as a driver, I've seen an inability for the driver to relay in terms the crew can figure out what he's talking about so that it can be corrected. You know, drivers come in and say it's loose. Well, what does that mean to you?
Right.
And getting that information correctly to a team that understands you and that starts clicking, that's when it makes championship differences because everyone relays what's going on right.
Yeah, the feedback is absolutely crucial. I mean, the more detail you can give to your team, it just makes the changes that much more simple. So for me, my biggest thing growing up was like, okay, how can I make my feedback so good that it's basically describing exactly what's happening from entry of the quarter, middle of the corner, and exit of the corner.
Right.
And a lot of the drivers, like Joe mentioned, they're like, "Oh, it's loose." Well, what do you mean it's loose? You know, that's my next question when I work with other drivers or I coach drivers on the side. You know, they have a passion for it. So it's like, okay, well, it's loose. Is it loose on the entry? Is it loose on left-hand corners? Is it loose on right-hand corners? Slow speed, high speed? And like their minds blow up. They're like, "No, I don't know."
Now that's showing you, or that's showing us that you're heading to be a champion for ever because, like you said, some drivers won't give that detail, but it helps everybody in the boat if you give the details. So you're putting in extra work to learn the terminology and how they want to hear it. That's amazing, dude. That that you're putting that already together.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that like I wanted to teach myself, and I knew I was the only one that could really teach myself. You know, somebody that could tell me, "Oh, you can take a corner this way," but until you actually feel it yourself,
right?
Oh, the car is not turning this way, or the shifts are a little weird here or there. How do you relay it? So for me, when I used to come in when I was younger, I used to just talk, and I used to have the team yell at me, "Okay, Corey, you're talking too much. Narrow the key points down."
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, I know what I want from the car.
Yeah.
Here's what it's doing here, here, and here. The main issue is this. And we kind of narrow it down as, you know, as I keep talking, you know, we kind of funnel it down to one main object.
Got you.
Nice.
You know, that's the biggest thing that I found that separates myself a lot from the other drivers is just feedback and remaining calm in the car where it says, there's a million things going on inside the car, and if you happen to get worked up and you know you overdrive the car, you're gonna fall back. So the biggest is remain calm. When it's time to give my feedback, you say what you gotta say, and then you stop and you let the crew decipher what you said.
Right.
You give suggestions. Oh, we're gonna change the front roll bar to this. What do you think about that? And with my experience, I can actually give input to the setup now. It's not just me blabbing whatever I feel in the car.
Right.
It's just the experience thing, you know? And I've been fortunate enough to drive some really cool cars and be able to work with some really cool engineers. So it all plays hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's cool. I met this last March. I went to a show up in Toronto, Canada. And there's a kid up there. I want to say he's 15, but he's autistic. And he races those 120 mile an hour go-karts.
Yeah.
And it's the craziest thing because his dad was telling me that when he races, the son told him that everything makes sense. Like his brain's going that fast, but unless he's racing, nothing makes sense. But when he starts getting that movement, everything levels out, and the kid can drive.
Yeah.
Like the dad showed me video of him. The kid's an animal behind the wheel, man. But it's just so funny because he barely talks.
Yeah.
When he goes out to his cart, he walks out with his mechanic, and he's holding the mechanic's arm, and he shuffles out there, and you can see this video. The dad was shooting it. You see these other kids, and they're snickering at this kid.
You're right.
He puts it in them.
Whacks them all, man. All their asses at the race.
Yeah.
And he won the race. I mean, the kid's just awesome, and he's actually I started following him on Facebook, just because the dad gave me a shirt, and he was, I think, in Texas last week, and they're doing the thing about here's this kid that's autistic, and this is what he's doing, and it's weird because the dad was telling me that he's actually getting to the point where he can start to convey to the head mechanic what the cart is doing. Like he's figuring it out.
Yeah.
And if you look at the kid, he barely talks. Like he can talk, but he's not going to talk to you unless he knows you.
Right.
I think
what?
It's crazy.
That's
my wife
passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife she's a teacher, special ed teacher, and she deals with a lot of autistic kids. And I think every one of these kids, they have something unique about them, but sometimes they never find out what it is because of their disability.
Right.
But once they do, man, like you see kids do amazing things with autistic.
Well, they usually have one thing on a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Whether it's singing or art or whatever it is, when they find that niche, it's like everything comes in tune.
Yeah.
And it's usually on a level way off the charts.
Well, and see, the dad was telling me, because, I know nothing about go-kart racing. So I asked the dad, how long do you think he can keep doing this for? Because, is like something you can do into your 40s? I don't know. And the dad told me that in Canada that the son's he's gonna age out. Yeah. And I asked him, I said, what do you do then? He's like, I really don't know. So I don't have a clue. But it's racing for autism it's just, dude, you got to look this kid up, because the kid can, just watching him drive, just watching him walk out to the cart and get in and then drive is a totally different person.
He needs to put him in NASCAR. He'd fit right in.
No, he knows how to make rights and lefts. He can make right turns and left turns, man. He don't need to go to NASCAR. They'd probably ruin him.
He'd have to slow down a little.
Yeah.
You're allowed to laugh, Corey. It's okay. No,
you're doing right, Corey. Remember, we're recording this.
No, I know, right?
I'm not running for office. Record it all.
I'll run for office. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, record it all.
Right?
I said it. Okay. Moving on.
There it is. No rebuttal. Push.
I'm the guy, I'll be the guy that says, the windows for apologies ran out 30 years ago. Moving on.
Yeah, move on.
See, Corey, that's Uncle Lou. You always got an uncle in the family that's just off the hook.
If I didn't put your name on it, it wasn't about you personally. So
exactly.
Hey, Corey, there's worse things to do on a Wednesday night, right?
Oh, exactly. Right?
So I want you guys sharing a lot of love for Corey and get some eyes on him.
Dude, I want to go to the shop, man. I want to check out the shop. That's what I want to do.
Well, we can definitely
I need to plan a trip down and we can hang out.
Yeah, man. Do you have my number, Joe? You got? Did I send it?
I can get it.
Yeah,
I have it, but I can get it.
I'll get it to him. Hey, let's make it a weekend trip, and we'll all meet up down there, because I'm only, 8 hours?
Yeah. Let's do something. I mean, that's cool, man. I'd like to see the race. I mean, I appreciate looking at the cars and all that. You know what I mean? That's what I love.
Corey, do you have anything in Charlotte set up prior to the Roar or between the Roar and the 24?
Actually, I know the team wanted me to come down maybe right before Christmas, possibly, to kind of sort everything out for the season. So I know in the next week or so I might actually be in Charlotte.
All right, well let me know and we'll dial it all in.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk it out.
Dude, I'd love to check out the car. I just want to see the damn thing. That's just cool.
Oh, heck yeah. No, we'll give you a whole tour of the place.
Yeah, man, that's
bitchy. The back message I sent you, Lou? Did you ever find the back message with the link I sent you?
No, I haven't looked.
Okay.
I just haven't, because look, I'm telling you right now, Joe, I start looking, I'll probably lose you guys.
Yeah.
got it.
I'll
I
get
ain't
it
gonna
to
lie
him.
to you, man. I'll probably lose you, and then I won't be able to come back because he'll be gone. You know what I mean?
That's it.
I was gonna do it when we got done.
Yeah.
Well, Corey's got a lot of things coming up in the way of announcements, and as soon as they're able to be announced, we'll put it through the feeds with you guys.
Yeah.
Just to keep showing some love. GoPro's really excited. You saw a lot of the GoPro love at SEMA.
Mm-hmm.
They're really looking forward to a lot of content from us, and we want to make sure that it gets shared a lot to keep all eyes on him with this whole new, because this is something totally new for Monster to be a part of. They've never really done the exotic car thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the demo track side's really light, so we need to show them that there's a lot of love off track and a lot of eyes on them. So we need to grow up the viewership on all of his social channels. So I'm going to share those with you guys so you can start paying attention and sharing and growing the numbers with us.
Yeah.
And then once content starts coming in, to just show some love to it and share it all you can. And then you'll see the content's going to be sick. I mean, how hard is it to shoot a Lambo wrong?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
so yeah.
Yeah, we'll do our best to keep you up on the pedestal, bro. Because you know, I like when I met you out of SEMA, and you know, you've been a good dude. So
Appreciate
we'll
it. Thank you guys.
definitely pump it up.
I was working at SEMA. I couldn't be walking around like Lou just lollygagging. I was actually
okay.
I can't believe you didn't come chill at the rig.
dude. I was
hustling.
busy. I was between Chicago Pneumatics, JRD International. They do glass,
Right.
and Prothane. I was just slammed.
When
I
does
was
your
just slammed.
show start shooting again?
We start shooting January 6th for season 5.
How do you determine the lineups for the accessories you guys put on there?
I have no control over that because the network actually owns the show.
So
Like if you wanted to do something, you would have to go through the network.
Give me the contact.
Yeah.
Because I got some hella products I want to try to steer your way on some things that would give you like exclusive on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me the contact because I'd like to have that as a way to stream some product through your site and give you some exclusive stuff.
Well, you didn't last time we talked. This didn't happen, but I actually start teaching January 14th. I'm going to be teaching at Central Piedmont Community College in Huntersville.
Nice.
I'm creating a fabrication and hot rod building course.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. The course doesn't even exist right now.
Okay.
Like I'm literally going on the 4th, and I got to start putting this thing together. But I'm doing that, and they own the PBS station in Charlotte.
Nice.
So that could be another avenue too.
Well, totally. Now, how many bodies you trying to put in that class?
Right now, Charlotte Mecklenburg School System identified, I believe it was 20 kids. So I'll get 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon. And I'm teaching them non-structural welding and suspension.
And you're going to
Those are the
definitely
first two
have it
classes.
broadcast?
I don't know. That's one of the questions that I was asked if I would consider doing a PBS thing. But I got to find out more about it. I'll know more in a few weeks.
And we're actually putting together.
There's ways we can make that work.
We're putting together I lost the word. We're putting together a proposal for that too for you, Lou.
Yeah.
So we're on that mission.
Because the thing is I know the thing about PBS is you have to teach. That's the whole deal.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing now on CarFix, and that's what I did on Muscle Car was teach.
It's just turning into a vocational online program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, all I'd have to do is teach more.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to look into doing, because if I can do that, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I got some really cool projects that we're going to do. I actually talked to Joe, the owner of Real Deal Steel Bodies out of Florida.
Yep.
And I asked him if he would give me a Tri-5 body that wasn't welded.
Right.
And what I want to do is build all the fixtures to weld together a body. And then once the class is done, we bring Joe up and he goes through it like they would do it at their shop,
right,
and weigh it. And, what's wrong with it? How do you fix it? Why it's wrong? Stuff like that.
Right.
So these guys can learn how to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So
well, I got a couple other neat twists you can put on that to really bring some attention to it. If you wanted to do something like that where they create something that once it's signed off on, I got a direct line with Barrett Jackson. We could do an auction with it and then use it as a fundraiser for PBS or whatever.
Yeah.
And it turns into a win-win for everyone. Then there's a good soft feeling about it.
That's the kind of stuff I want to, that I want to do, because I hate to say it, but it has to generate income.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to monetize it. Otherwise, you're just spinning wheels.
Right. And then the school won't do it.
Well,
you know what I mean? They'll just let it die.
The way to monetize it, if we can get enough of the product placement, as you're already aware of how to do that, to create something that's actually auctionable, then we just get the tie into Barrett Jackson, give them a little bit of shouts while we're doing it, and then when it goes straight to auction, it gets the TV time there to bring attention to it, which is the payback to PBS, and then the funding pays for next year's project, so it's not costing anyone anything.
Exactly.
All right, let me know.
I mean, I know the guys at Barrett Jackson know me, but I've never met any of them.
Well, I know the people you need to talk to there, and we can make it something that they actually put in there. Instead of you just rolling a car through, which does nothing, we get them warm and fuzzy about it. They put it in their catalog, and then all of a sudden it goes to a whole nother level.
Right.
So I can broker all of that. That's easy.
Cool. Yeah, because that'll be awesome. Because I mean, they need to get a car to SEMA. They need to do those things because it's only going to help grow the project.
Yeah, totally.
They need to be at PRI. They need to be at those places.
Well, the cool thing about SEMA and PRI are both lead-ins to the Scottsdale Barrett Jackson auction.
Right.
So you get people buzzing about it there. They can contribute on site at both those locations, and then follow the auction when it goes across the block, so that they can feel like they've been part of something.
Right.
Yeah. That'd be a sweet trip for them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't let anybody in the Scottsdale.
Exactly. I mean, that's why, it's just I gotta get it to where it can live on its own, and then I can build what I want, and we just funnel it out. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Not only that, just the people that I was, the guys that I know it from SEMA, when I was talking to him, Justin from Scott's Hot Rods, he told me, said, man, if you teach some kids how to TIG weld good enough, I'll hire 4 of them.
Well, that's the other thing. You become a feeder for all of these trades that are falling away right now. And that's exactly, you make the course specific to the things that are the weakest in the field.
Right.
Create a subclass of guys doing the stuff right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
Hey, Lou, in the chat room, put your website so people can go and look at your work, man. If you see some of Lou's work, it's unbelievable how he puts it down. And Joe, throw your website in, and Corey, any social medias you want to add to it, so people in the room can check you out. Lou's built some hot stuff, man, and we got to get his stuff out there on the street too.
Yeah, I got a forum, and see, that's where I was going to put a lot of the pictures and all that.
Yeah,
put the stuff on the forum so it can generate interest there. Because right now the forum is just floating around; it's not really doing nothing. But that's one of the things I'm going to do with it. So make it happen.
We're in the works on that too.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah, we're going to turn it up a notch. So next year when we get out to SEMA, they're going to be throwing dollars at us instead of the girls.
There you go. Someone needs to throw dollars at us. I'll be happy with that. Yeah. Well, guys, it is 10:20, and I'm going to have to vacate, and we'll make this happen.
Okay, before we jump off, everybody tell the chat room who you are and what you do, and then we'll jump off.
Well, go ahead, Lou. Do it. Start.
Lewis from All Ins Magazine, and I'm running the world from the office with my mic. And
Corey, go ahead, Corey.
Mr. Lewis, Monster Energy athlete, also driver of the Lamborghini Huracan, sponsored by Monster Energy.
I'm Lou Santiago. I host CarFix, and it's on Velocity. Joe, you.
Joe, Gridstar USA. We do team wear, promo wear, work in motorsports all over the U.S. Hey, I put a link for Corey's video up in the message thread.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. I'm gonna check that out.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
So everybody in the chat room, we do this every Wednesday night at 9:00 live.
9:00 Eastern.
Eastern time. And we're going to keep having different athletes and celebrities and nobodies coming on every week. So feel free to join us and, chat it up with us. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. And it's good blab.
Yeah, thank you
See
guys.
you guys next time.
Appreciate it.
Come on back.
Let me check out the video.
Hey, Lou, can you cut the recording off?
I think it's on your end, bud.
Wait, Lou cut himself off.
Yeah, he said he's going to do that.
I'm not a host, so Lewis started it. Joe, actually, you're a host. Can you cut the?
How do I go about doing that?
It's over on the left-hand side. See where it's blinking record? Under there somewhere. Well, that's okay. If we all jump off, we'll be good.